This is being recorded, so if anybody said they missed a little bit of it, just tell them that they can go back to the recording, or again, they can just call me with any questions they have. Again, I just wanted to kind of get some things out there so you guys see a face to me. If you're like a brand new parent to the school, you get to know who I am, maybe get to know my personality a little bit better, other than just seeing what you see online or anything like that. So before we get going, this is the first time we're doing a Facebook Live. And I want to say it's one of the first times we're doing it as a district. Is this right?
Almsville's done it a couple times.
Almsville did it a couple times. Okay.
They did one Q&A and
Okay.
that's it.
So anyway, this is we're just trying it new, and if it works and we have a good response to it, I think I'm going to try to do this. Actually, I don't think I am going to do. So I talked with Madeline for the next 3 weeks. We're going to try it out. So every Tuesday at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be back on here because I know we're going to answer some questions, and I know the way things are going. Either the state or guidance or the district might change some things up, hopefully not too much, or the metrics will change. And I just want to give a chance to give updates to you guys in a live fashion. So for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be doing this at 5 o'clock every Tuesday. And then maybe if it works well, we'll just continue on. Because like I said, I think there's going to be questions where parents are going to have about logging on online, or concerns or different things, and I just want to make sure that we are a community and we have a chance to do that. So this is a live forum. I'm going to start with kind of an overview of an update, and also questions for people that they've sent in, and then I'm going to answer questions that you guys are coming up in the comment bar. I have Madeline Statler, who is our communications director here at Cascade, with me here, and she's going to be asking me the questions that you guys write there. So first off, I think all you guys know at this point, we are going to be online, or we're going to be distance learning for the first part, at least until the earliest we'll be back is October 20th. That would be the earliest. And that is greatly dependent on the metrics set out by the state of Oregon. And we are definitely, how we can go back is dependent on how many numbers of positive COVID cases that we have in Marion County and also in the state of Oregon. So we are dependent on that. What I can tell you right now is that the Cascade School District, Cloverdale, we want kids back at school. We believe kids need to be at school. We believe that it's the best for kids right now. We believe that kids need to be connected to a community. They need to be connected with a teacher. They need to be connected with their friends. And that's something that we strongly believe, and we're working hard to get that done. But right now, we are knowing that the state is telling us that we need to go online, and so that's what we are going to be doing. Right now, there is two options that you guys have. You have the strictly or the comprehensive, which most everybody is doing, is the comprehensive distance learning, or CDL. And then the other option is online. What you guys need to know, the commonalities between the two, it's the exact same program, the same curriculum. The only difference is when you're doing strictly online or just online, it's at your own pace, and the kids are kind of going through the lessons by themselves, but they have to show adequate progress. You are going to have a staff member that will help you along the way. If you have any questions, we'll kind of help you out just a little bit, but basically you're kind of on your own. You're not connected with other kids. You're not really connected with a class or community or anything like that. The CDL, on the other hand, is the exact same curriculum, but you're going to be working through a cohort of kids in your class. So like basically it's going to be your first grade class, second grade class, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. And you're going to have your teachers. So at Cloverdale, we have one teacher per grade, and it's the traditional same classes that we had last year. Same teachers are going to be teaching the same classes. And that teacher will set the pace. And when we talk about setting the pace, it's basically they will be saying, okay, this week we're doing fractions, or we're going to be working on this reading skill or writing skill, and they're going to be working through the standards, and the class will do that together. There will be live instruction from the teacher. There will be small groups, and there will be one-on-one opportunities. The teachers will have office hours for you to connect with them if you have questions or concerns, or for extra tutoring or anything like that. I am recommending, and what I'm telling you guys is I would definitely start out with the CDL, or the Comprehensive Distance Learning, just because I think for kids it's important for them to feel connected in a community. And I think like I said, they will be seeing their friends in the classroom, in Zoom meetings, in small groups and different things like that. So I think that's really important. And then also when we do come back live, face-to-face, in person at school, the CDL will transfer nicely into, and we'll just pick up where we left off at home. And when we come home at school, we're just going from there, and we're just going to be going straight into there. So it's just going to be a really nice transition. But if you're doing strictly online and all of a sudden you're way behind or you're way ahead, that might be a little troublesome when you come back. And so that's why, for right now, I'm definitely recommending everybody to go comprehensive distance learning. The other thing with that is, so with registration, Cloverdale, by the way, nice job. You guys totally rocked registration. I think we have like 97% of our parents are registered, our kids are registered. A couple of them haven't, just because they have questions, or maybe they're out on vacation, or they just haven't got around to it, but we're doing great. And the majority of everybody is registered for comprehensive distance learning. Now, if you didn't, a lot of people are asking me, well, when do I need to pick between online or comprehensive distance learning? And the answer to that is basically, right now we're going to assume everybody is going to do CDL, comprehensive distance learning, because that's what most people are saying. However, if you choose not to do comprehensive distance learning, please send me an email or send Shelly an email clarifying that you want to do strictly online on your own. Okay, so right now we're defaulting everybody to comprehensive distance learning, but if you choose to do online because for whatever reasons, and you have your reasons out there, just email me, email Shelly, and we'll make sure that that can happen. All right. So with that being said, we're going to get to some questions here that I'm kind of getting, and so Madeline's going to go ahead and ask me a question.
Okay, Mr. Dyer.
Yeah.
Will there be packet pickups? If not, will there be some work reading that can be printed out at home, or will everything be done online?
Yeah, so Madeline, I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background, so I'm just going to repeat that question that she said. So basically what she was asking is there going to be packet pickup? And if there is, or if there's not, is there going to be printed materials or anything that students can do tactile, like writing out a worksheet, or just writing out, or pen and paper assignments or anything like that? So I'm going to answer that question first, or those questions first. So right now there is going to be elements of schools PLP that you can print out and that you can write out. Right now I don't know exactly what hold on. I assume that there is going to be some type of packet pickup or some kind of materials that we are going to be handing out. It might be an art project that we will be doing, so like a toolkit or some papers or anything like that. How much that is, I'm not too sure if it's every week or every other week, but there is going to be some elements of that. Parents, I do know that almost in every lesson there will be opportunity for them to print out a worksheet that they can do if you choose to do that. So that's there. Madeline, was that all that question?
Yes.
Okay.
Next question. How will students earn attendance? How many days of the week will attendance be taken? And will the school and or students be penalized for low attendance rates?
Yeah. So attendance is a big issue that's being brought up, and I'm hearing this quite often, is like, what is attendance going to look like? What is the requirement for kids, and how are we going to take attendance? So the way it works is attendance will be taken 5 days a week for every single school, or every single school day during the week. So if there's a holiday, obviously we don't have school that day. But every day there's a school, we need to take attendance. How attendance is taken is kids just need to show evidence that they interacted with the material or with the teacher. So attendance could be logging on to a Zoom meeting, a small group, a one-on-one, an email to the teacher, turning in an assignment. So any way that the students interacted with the curriculum, even just like turning in one assignment, that counts for showing up for the day. And that is within a 24-hour period. So let's say a kid doesn't log on till like 5 o'clock in the evening, but they still logged on or they did an assignment, that counts, and we will count them for being there at school. Okay. Now, what I'm going to be asking students to do, and I might stand out on going on a limb here a little bit because I'm not sure if this is how the district's going to do it, but in my perfect mind is if a student is going to be absent. So let's say you're at home and they're supposed to log on, but they are sick. Let's say they're throwing up and they can't access their education. What I would ask you guys to do, just like you would do, let's just keep the same process. You're going to call Shelly, you're going to email Shelly and say, hey, my kid is not going to access online today, or they're not going to be doing anything. Or let's say you take a vacation. Let's say you're going to be gone out of state or going somewhere, and you know what? You're not really going to feel like doing any schoolwork on vacation. You're going to email Shelly. You're going to call Shelly, you're going to let her know that we're going to be gone for 3 days or 4 days. And so that's going to let the teacher not worry about you, and they're not going to be like, oh, did Johnny not sign in, or did I miss an email? And so now we just have heads up on that. So I think we're going to just kind of keep that practice. And so when we do come back, hopefully in October, when we do come back, we just keep that same practice. All right?
Good question.
That's a great question.
This says, I'm assuming this means no more Google Classroom. Will they still use Google Hangouts for meetings, or does Schools PLP have its own platform for live instruction?
Okay. So when we talk about live instruction, Schools PLP is has everything involved in there. So it's going to have everything in there. Now there might be some Google Classroom stuff that might be embedded in there. So there might be there, but the cool thing about Schools PLP, it's a one-stop shop. And so when you get in there, everything will be located in there. So like any of the meetings, if they have to go to a class meeting, or like what? Assignments, any assignments that they need, if they want to do a one-on-one chat with the teacher, a smaller group that they'll do, everything I said will be located. Any announcements, any letters, any emails, everything is going to be streamed through Schools PLP. And so the answer to that would be yes. Or Google, like I said, there might be some things embedded in there. And right now we're still working on which one might be better. So would it be better for us to embed Google if that's more user-friendly, or use the Schools PLP version of that? And so right now we're kind of playing with that to see which one is going to be the most user-friendly.
Will there be training for parents on Schools PLP?
So Madeline asked, is there going to be training on Schools PLP for parents and for students before we get going? And the answer is yes. We're going to have a virtual open house here at Cloverdale, and we'll be sending out links to that. Also, there will be training videos and letters and documents going home on how to log on and show you how to navigate Schools PLP and all that. And like I said, the other thing that we will be doing along with those, I will be doing either live videos like this, or I'll have an opportunity for parents to have office hours where they can call me and say, hey, I'm really struggling logging on, can you help me, or anything like that. So those will be available to parents as well.
Within CDL, are kids able to work at some level at their own pace? Yeah,
so somebody asked a question. So within comprehensive distance learning, are the kids, oh, the lights went out.
Sorry.
That's okay. Within comprehensive distance learning, somebody asked, can the kids work at their own pace, or is there going to be some level of that? And the answer is yes. And so a lot of people are like, there's going to be live instruction. The kids don't have to do the live instruction, but there is going to be opportunity for them to do that if they want. So like I said, for some reason, if let's say a first grader is at daycare all day long and the live instruction is at 9 o'clock, and that daycare provider is not going to be able to get that kid, or maybe they don't have internet service, and you can't get your kid on until like 5 o'clock in the evening, they can go back and those live instructions will be recorded, and they can kind of do that at their own pace. They can do it over the weekend, they can do it in the evenings or anything like that. So there is going to be that level. And then also there's going to be levels of within the standard that we're addressing. So let's say we're doing fractions in the third grade. Let's say your kid is just a middle kid and he's still kind of struggling, like all kids are going to struggle through fractions. They're going to have assignments kind of tailored for them. But let's say your kid is, for some reason, fractions just come super easy for them. They can go a little bit deeper, and there's going to be assignments and opportunities for that child or for that student to go deeper into the realm of fractions. Or let's say your kid is having a tough time. Or fractions, like I said, it's hard for a lot of kids, but it's really hard for them. There's opportunities for them to get remedial lessons and for them to be able to work maybe at a slower pace or at their level, or to break it down in a different way. And so there's another path. And I would say that, there's 3 different paths, like, maybe a lower, I'm not getting it, or I'm kind of getting it, I'm still working through it, and a high. To be quite honest, there's everything in between. And so really schools PLCs really will be tailored for the individual child, and it can push them to where they need to be pushed within that standard. So the answer to that, they just can't go off and do random standards or whatever, but they can do things at their own pace. You don't have to be there lock in step with the class every single day, every single minute.
This is going to be 2 questions because they kind of go together. What is the daily schedule going to look like for students? And then Elise asked on Facebook, how much live virtual teaching will happen?
Okay. So the question is, what is the daily schedule going to look like in the ways of how much live instruction is going to happen, and basically what is that going to look like? We're still kind of working out the absolute details of that, so I don't have the exact schedule of what it's going to be, but basically kids are going to have 2 hours of interaction. It's either going to be teacher-led live, or it's going to be teachers are going to make a video and push that out to the kids. And so in my mind, what it's probably going to look like is a teacher is going to get on, so like for reading, and we'll have time set blocks. So that's another question that was kind of coming up was, I think it kind of came up, I have a 2nd grader, a 1st grader, and a 3rd grader, and they're all going live at the same time. How in the heck am I going to manage that? What we're going to do at Cloverdale, and what the other schools are going to do in the district, is we're going to stagger that. So 1st grade will have kind of a time slot where they're going to be going live for like an hour, and then 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade, and they're going to be staggered throughout the day, and so not everybody has to get on at the same time. But the way I look at it is the teachers are probably going to be doing more like a 30-minute live instruction, or maybe 30, 15 minutes. It depends on the age group, and also depends on the group. And so I would say, it's going to be 30 minutes, but maybe a group can't handle 30 minutes and ends up being 15 minutes. So the teacher will introduce, maybe work through a problem, release the kids to work on that problem by themselves, and they come back, and then they might come back for another 15 minutes of like help, or this extra, and the teacher can kind of help them if they have questions or anything like that. And so that's the way it's going to work for like reading and math. So again, it's going to be, the way I look at it is, okay, let me break this down. Hold on. I'm still kind of working through this in my own head. Is if I have a teacher, they might do like a 30 minutes, and this is what I call in the teaching realm or in the educational business is I do, which is teacher does, and then we do. And that's mean teacher and students, they kind of work through it together. And then it's you do, and that's where the student works on the project on their own. So I see us doing like maybe 15, 20, maybe even 30 minutes of I do and we do, where we're sharing the responsibility of working through things together, and then releasing the kids on their own to maybe like 20 minutes. And then we come back for like 15 minutes of questions if the students need to get those questions. So basically what I would say is on any given day, the most that any kid will be in front of a screen in front of a teacher would be 2 hours. That would be the absolute most, but I just don't see it being that much. It will be more broken up into smaller increments. And then kids will also have the responsibility of about 2 hours and 20 minutes of somewhere along the lines of work that they're going to have to complete on their own, not teacher-led. So kids will be working on basically around 4 hours, 4.5 hours a day is what I'm kind of seeing.
Well, that answers the how long will kids be on the computer question.
Yeah, and some of it. So that Madeline said that answers how long the kids will be on the computer question. But when we say 4 hours, that full hours will not be necessarily in front of the computer typing and working in fields. It will be, they might have a whiteboard and the teacher's over there is doing something, or they're working on a worksheet. And there might be some work, there's going to be some worksheets, and there's going to be some hands-on things that they're going to be working on by themselves. So it's not going to be the 4 for 4 hours. And also included in that 4 hours, there's going to be PE, there's going to be music opportunities, there's going to be art opportunities. So it's not straight 4 hours reading and math and science and social studies. So it's going to be broken up into some of those other things as well.
This is about limited in-person.
Okay.
So will the school offer limited in-person? How can someone get signed up for that? If my student's falling behind, can they come in for additional help?
Okay, so Madeline just posed a question surrounding limited in-person instruction. So right now, there just came out new guidance last week that said that it opened up the door, small, limited, of how many kids we can bring in, but there is going to be opportunities to be able to do that. Right now, since it's so fresh out and it just came out, we're working on the details about what that is. What I can tell you, it's not going to be for everybody. What I can tell you is going to be on a need basis, a need basis, and it is going to be, and it's not strictly just for kids on an IEP or kids with English as a second language, or a kid on a 504 or special services. It is going to be open to everybody, but it's definitely based on an individual need, and there's going to be a process to that. There is going to be a checklist that the kids are going to have to qualify under certain standards for them to be able to be brought in. So we're still developing what that looks like. And to be quite honest with you, that will not be ready right away September 8th. It probably will be the last week of September before we start bringing kids in. Just because we have to go through that process, and we have to make sure that we have all the safety protocols ready here at school for them to be able to be brought in. In the meantime, what we are doing is the staff, we are compiling a list of kids that did struggle last year, and we knew that it's a struggle, and we're going to start that process. So when we can't get them in, it might expedite that process. Or if you do have concerns around that, shoot me an email and we can talk about it. Because maybe it doesn't have to be in person, face to face, but we can work something else out. One thing to keep in mind, this year is going to be very different than last spring. Last spring, to be honest with you, was a Band-Aid for a really hard situation, something that was thrown at the school that we were not expecting. And I don't think any parent or the nation or state was not ready to do that. That was just something that was unprecedented, and so it was really hard. We did the best we could, but we definitely realized and we own up to the issues that we had last year. One of those issues is we were not connecting enough with kids. There was not enough one-on-one. There was not enough live instruction. Things were inconsistent throughout the district, within the schools, from teacher to teacher. These are the issues that we know that were out there. That is why moving forward to this fall, those hopefully, and I want to say hopefully, they are going to be addressed and they are going to be taken into consideration. So there is going to be a lot more. There is going to be a lot more face-to-face instruction. There is going to be a lot more one-on-one connection with the teacher, with Cloverdale staff. There is going to be a lot more consistency from teacher and classroom to classroom. So if you have a first grader and a third grader, the platform, schools PLP, will make sure that it will be the same platform, and so it will look the same. Consistency is going to be the key as we work through there, because I don't want parents feeling frustrated that one teacher's doing this and another teacher's doing that. So we're not going to be doing. So we're really going to be working on that. Okay.
What are the expectations for students?
The expectations of students is, and we'll kind of get into this a little bit more, is that students are going to be required, they're going to be logging in and they're going to be turning in assignments. The biggest thing that I'm asking for students is they need to work hard. They need to connect. They need to engage into the work. They need to just try their hardest. They need to log on. So like I said, for me, the expectation is that they need to be working, or they need to be doing some kind of school work. It's going to be 4 hours a day, and they just need to know that. It's every single day. We are going to be showing up, and like I said, for school, I talk to the kids about work. It's hard work. We are going to have to put some hard work in this fall to kind of get through this time. So that's where the student expectations are.
What are the expectations for parents?
The expectations for parents, that's going to be hard. It's going to be aiding the kids. So I'm going to be sending letters about recommendations, what I would recommend at home. Last year when we went through, I kind of said, hey, whatever you guys need to do to get through, that's okay. Whatever you just need to do, we were in survival mode. This year, I'm going to be a little bit more explicit what I would think would be conducive to learning at home and what that would look like. So that would be like setting up a quiet place for them, or a consistent place at home that is free of distractions, setting up a routine schedule at home, doing different things like that at home, helping your child log on. But I think the number one thing that I expect out of parents, and that I absolutely need to happen, I cannot, no matter what we do, if there is an issue, you have to contact the school. So if your kid is struggling, give me a call. You can't log on, give the teacher a call, give me a call. If there's a problem, give us a call and we'll fix it, okay? Or we'll work on it together and we'll find a solution. If I don't hear about the problem, I can't help you. The teacher cannot help you, and it's not going to fix the problem. The only thing it's going to do is it's going to make the matter, it's going to make the situation worse. So my number one expectation of any parent is, if you don't know what's going on, you're frustrated, you're angry, your kid is falling behind, you need to let us know here at school so we can help you through that, and we can guide you through that and make that situation a little bit easier. So that's my number one expectation, is just communication with the school.
How will students get to know their teachers and build the relationships with their teachers?
So Madeline said, how are the students going to build that relationship with the students online? How is that relationship going to foster? I was talking to the teachers earlier this week, and I kind of told them this, is like, things are going to look different, they're going to feel different, but just because something's different doesn't mean that we can't be effective at our jobs. And one of the ways that we are effective at our jobs is to connect with kids. So we have to figure out ways to connect with kids that is different than we've ever done it before. So again, it's going to be a lot more one-on-one conversations with the teachers, with those kids. There's going to be small group opportunities. The first week of school, it's not going to be high, just like we would in any given year. We're not going to throw this heavy academic on September 8th and all of a sudden we're going to be like, here's the lesson of the day. It's not going to be that way. That first week is going to be icebreakers, getting to know your teacher, activities that are designed for the student to interact with the teacher, with staff members, and also designed for them to interact with each other and really build that community within that classroom. That is why I recommend a comprehensive distance learning, because the kids need to feel connected. Teaching 101, a student can't learn if they're hungry. A student will not learn if they don't feel loved. A student cannot learn if they don't feel safe, and a student has a hard time learning if they do not feel connected. And so we have to make that effort to connect those kids within the class and with those teachers. And that was an issue last year. That was a problem. We need to work on that, and we have some plans to make sure that that gets done here this fall.
Are you guys going to do anything else for social interaction and peer connection amongst the classes and students?
Yeah, so are we going to do anything else? We are working on, I haven't even talked to my staff about this, but, because like I said, the guidance is so hard about what we can do, like outside of school or field trips or any of that kind of stuff, because a lot of that is different. We are working on, we're going to be doing clubs, not clubs, I'm working on the possibility of creating clubs. So like in the afternoon or like in the morning, there might be opportunity, in the morning will be the heavy core lifting or the heavy lifting of school. But in the afternoons, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, we might be doing a book club, or we might be doing a science club, or we might just be doing a social group where kids can get together and just chat and talk. And those are some things that we're working on that we probably will be doing in the fall. The exact details on that, I'm not too sure, but there is going to be opportunities like that.
Do you foresee us going back to school in person?
That's the million-dollar question right there, is do you foresee us going back to school this year or in the near future? The answer to that is I cannot really comment on that because I really do not know. Right now it is based off the metrics foreseen by the state of Oregon. So Governor, I wouldn't say Governor Kate Brown, but the Oregon Health Authority kind of put out. And basically we have to meet that certain number in order for us to get back. So that's, was it 30 per 100,000? Is that right?
That's to bring in K3.
K3, and then what's in 10?
Less than 10 for.
Yeah. So really when we're looking at K5 to get everybody back, you have to have less than 10 cases per 100,000 in Marion County. And there's other factors of there, but that's kind of the main one. So if you're sitting there, and your guess is better than mine, is are we going to have less than 10 cases per 100,000 for 3 weeks in a row? That's your guess, and that's where we're at. And I really don't know the answer to that question. I wish I could say yes, October 20th we are heading back, or November 11th we're heading back. Whatever date it is, I wish we could. But right now I just don't have that answer. Okay.
Will kids be learning less?
Oh, somebody asked me that. Since we're going online, are the kids going to be learning less than they would have in regular school? In the magic world, I would love to say, and if you guys know me, I feel like I'm a very honest person, and I do not like to blow smoke or anything like that, so I'm going to be honest with you here. The answer is, I think we are going to be learning, if it was a typical year, yeah, we are going to be learning less. But what you need to know is that within the school, there's power standards, or the things that kids have to learn, or they're called essential standards, or whatever you want to call it, that they have to learn in that grade level. We will be hitting all those essential power standards. Now, there's other ones that are filler standards, or some maybe not essential ones that we can hit on, or maybe we touch upon, or that we dive into, that we might not get into. And so we want to make sure that we are hitting the major power standards for the year in order to get them ready for the next year. So we're not going to be hitting all the little standards, but the main power ones, yes, we are, and we are going to get through those. But like I said, the smaller ones, we might have to lose those. And the other thing too is, even when you're in person, all the little side conversations when you have with a kid or anything like that, I don't think that anything beats face-to-face interaction with a teacher or within the classroom, because sometimes you hit on standards, or you hit on things that, and you'll teach your kids something that is not necessarily planned. And we're just not going to have those opportunities like we would in a face-to-face classroom.
Has there been any discussion of shortening the summer next year, or moving to adjusting the school year in 2021 to make up for any of this education? Yeah, so somebody asked, is there any talk about shortening next year's, or elongating next year, or shortening summer break in order to, or adjusting the calendar for next year, or even this year, just moving forward, and to adjust to COVID, or to adjust to the education that has been lost over the last basically 9 months, how long we've been in the COVID situation here. And the answer to me is no. We haven't had those conversations yet here at Cascade. No. Will there be a school supply list for distance learning, and then a school supply list for when we come back? School supply list right now, I'm going to ask parents just to hold off on that. I don't have an answer to that. I don't want to say go out and buy this or buy that. We're still looking at things. There could be a small supply list that is going to go out. I foresee a lot of things. If you need things at comprehensive distance learning, we're going to be asking for, we'll probably be handing out like a packet pickup, or a toolkit that's going to be going out to kind of help you. If we're finding that we need colored pencils consistently, or crowns or anything like that, we'll put out a list at that time. But right now we don't have one. And you kind of touched on this, but how are parents supposed to manage comprehensive distance learning for multiple children? Any suggestions or? Yeah, so the question is, how are parents supposed to manage distance learning, or how difficult is it going to be to manage the comprehensive distance learning when you have like multiple kids across different age groups, and how are we going to manage that? I do know
The answer to that is, again, we're going to be staggering when live instruction is going to be happening. And so you're not going to be fighting over like one computer during like the 8 o'clock hour or the 9 o'clock hour. So hopefully, well, the plan is to have first grade be like at 9 o'clock, second grade be at 10 o'clock, and we can kind of work that way, do it that way. To be honest with you, it will be a little bit difficult. Anytime you have multiples of anything, it's going to be harder. I know for me, I have next year I'll have a second grader and a third grader, and they'll be at different times. And on top of that, then I have a 2.5-year-old at home, almost a 3-year-old. And so navigating that is going to be difficult. And I think that's where you're just going to have to find what works for you and setting a schedule and creating routine. I can't stress how much routine is and how important that is, and kind of working through that. So, and if you're all having issues with that, again, let's say you get into like the third week of September and it is a train wreck and you're having a tough time, reach out to me, and I can help you maybe navigate that or give you some ideas, or maybe we can adjust the teacher's schedule. We can make something happen to make that easier for you. I think we all know that I'm pretty flexible here at Cloverdale, and we can always find a solution for you guys at home.
Will there be any workbooks or textbooks?
Right now, we haven't talked about any workbooks or any textbooks that are going to be there. Like I said, printed materials. If is required printed materials, we'll be handing those out at like a pickup or along there. So if there is required, we will be handing that home. There will be a pickup for that.
I think that's it.
That is it. I think that's there. I think the other thing, one question is, I see a couple parents on here that have asked questions about SEL, so that's social emotional learning. And I did want to touch upon that. We are going to be doing that. So about once a week, if not more, there is going to be, for me, that's very important, because right now, I think the biggest thing that a lot of these kids are struggling is not necessarily academic, but it's the social piece of it. It's the emotional piece of it. We are having kids that, to be honest, and I hate saying it, it makes me sad, there are kids that are depressed. There are kids that are struggling with this. I know my first grader that's going to be in second grade struggled intensely last year. And so we are going to be working on that. Mrs. Augsburger, if you're having issues or anything like that, reach out to me or Mrs. Augsburger. A part of that limited, bringing kids in on a limited face-to-face or in-person instruction heavily revolves around that social, emotional piece. So if your kid is having a tough time at home and they are having major blowouts and they're having fits, and I know most kids are having a lot of those, or they're talking about just not great things, or they're talking about just being depressed or being sad, and I heard somebody say, I'm sad and I don't know why. If that's happening, reach out to us, and Jessica can get a hold of you. She's going to be working hard on that. And also, like I said, this year, the major difference between this year and next year is how much more teacher connection there is going to be, one-on-one, small group, and we're going to be talking a lot about that. So a lot of that, even during that 4 hours that the kids are going to be working on things, within that 4 hours, there is going to be that social, emotional learning piece during that 4 hours. So I want to really say that 4 hours isn't straight reading and math. It is going to be, reading, math, social, emotional learning. There is going to be PE. There is going to be music. There is going to be art. There's going to be other things in there to keep the kids engaged. So we're just not going to grind and redline the kids. Okay, that's not healthy for anybody, and that's not conducive to learning. And so we got to find the balance between there. So again, that 4 hours is just not straight, listen to me, wah, in front of a live video. There's going to be interactions. There's going to be, go ahead and do this, come back 15 minutes, and there's going to be a lot of play in that. There's going to be a lot of flexibility. Exactly what that looks like, that's the hard thing right now, is we're going to have to see how the kids come in, and we're going to have to adjust to that as we see the kids come in. And so again, I don't want to say it's going to be a straight 2 hours and hold to that, because that's not healthy for a kid, because what if that's not working? If it's not working, we're going to make the adjustment and we're going to make the change. And that's what we're going to do, because we're going to do what's right for the kid, and we're going to find out what's going to work for our kids here at Cloverdale. So, I don't know. Any other questions?
I haven't seen any more come up, but we're gonna do this again, so if you have more,
Yep.
let us know.
All right, that's awesome, you guys. So that is it. That's for the questions right now. I want to say thank you to everybody. If you guys know, I do like to talk, and so sometimes this might have been, obviously it was like 42 minutes long. I could sit here and answer questions all night long. I really do enjoy this. Can you guys do me a favor? If you're on right now, and you liked it, or you have comments or anything like that, I know you can leave them here, and that's fine in the comment section, but shoot me an email and say, Mr. Dyer, that was worth it. I really enjoyed that. Next time, can you touch on this, or maybe not ramble on too much, or do this, or keep them shorter, or anything like that. This is new, and I'm trying to make this process better for you, and I want to make sure that this works. So again, for the next 3 weeks, I am going to be doing this on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. And if it works well, and this forum works well for us, that can move on to, hey, the first week of school, we do a Facebook Live, how did it go? And parents can come back to me, and this could be a good interface between us. And like I said, you can bring the kids on here. So if you have kids, they could be sitting with you watching this, because like I said, this is for you and the parents, and I'm here for you. And I just want to make sure that I do what I need to do for you guys, because like I said, right now, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get teared up, but like I said, I miss the kids, I miss you guys, and I wish you were here, and this is the best thing that we can do kind of moving forward, and but it takes a two-way street with communication, so let me know if it works, and we'll go from there. All right, remember Cloverdale, it's not luck, it's hard work, and we are country strong, and we are in this together, and let's get it done, and have a great fall. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.